Hello and welcome back to Sprite Guard Completes Zenith. Yes, I have settled on this name, Sprite Guard. I guess I've probably been using it for quite a while by the time this video goes up, but I wanted to talk a little bit about why it is that I chose this name in particular and what it means to me. And I figure completing Zenith is a good time to do that, because this is one of those games like Fuel, where there's a lot of time that I spend just kind of going around places and not doing too much, so I don't have to focus all the time on what I'm doing in the game, and I can talk a little bit about other things. So Sprite Guard, what does the name mean? Well, it comes from a Chinese book, another Chinese book, yes, but indirectly. It's a lot more indirect, it's a lot more of an homage, and it's a lot more relevant to the channel and the things that I want to do with the channel. So what does it mean? It comes from a book, a very old book, called The Classic of Mountains and Seas. Let's go through the canyon. Classic of Mountains and Seas. It's this geography book from, like, BC sometime, I think. It's very, very old. It's not really clear that it actually describes geography that exists. It's a very long list of mountains that nobody has ever been able to correlate with actual mountains. And it talks a little bit about where each mountain is, and what rivers there are on the mountain, and what animals there are. And a lot of the animals are kind of magical, interesting, strange, chimeric creatures, like something might have the head of a man and the body of a rooster kind of stuff. There's one of my favorites is this fish that has one head and 10 bodies. So that's the kind of stuff that's in this book. And in among all of these fairly dry descriptions of the locations and the creatures at those locations is this little story about this girl who was swimming in the Eastern Sea, and she drowned. And she was reborn as a bird called jing. And jing translates roughly to Sprite Guard. And what jing does is she flies from one end of the world to the other, carrying stones. She goes to the western edge of the world and she picks up a stone and she carries it to the Eastern Sea and she throws the stone into the sea. And she wants to fill up the sea with stones so that nobody else will ever drown there like she did. And so, as soon as I saw this story, I loved it. I just absolutely fell in love with this story about, it's like, it captures a lot of what I like about the Sisyphus story, but in a way that is much more hopeful. It's like Sisyphus is just pushing his rock kind of to no end. Jing is actually, she has something in mind that she's trying to do. She's trying to fill up the sea so that nobody drowns there. And so it captures a lot of that sense of doing something over and over and over again to seemingly no effect, like Sisyphus, like a lot of what I kind of experience in my own life. But it also has that sense that often comes up in working for social change, of making this tiny, tiny effect, like you can't even tell that you're making any effect at all, but you just have to live with this hope that you're eventually going to have some profound effect on the world. And I feel like that's really what I'm trying to do with my channel. I'm trying to create this channel where people can feel safe and accepted and just really be this force for change in the gaming culture and gaming industry by creating this culture of acceptance and of self-forgiveness and of other acceptance and other forgiveness and just warmth, more than anything else. That's what I want to create. And I'm just one person. I have very little reach, and I have very little effect on the world, and so I want to have this big world-changing effect, but I have very little power to do so, and in that way I very much identify with the Jing character. And so that's why I took the name of Sprite Guard as an indication of where I want to go with this channel, what I want to do, and also an indication just of my very deep love of this story that has been a huge effect on me and had a huge impact on the way that I think about the world. And it also, I think, really relates to gaming in general and the way that I approach gaming in general, of if you just look at what you're accomplishing moment to moment in a game, it can feel like you're not making any progress at all. I've been playing this game for a very long time, and there's stuff I can't do. I played Umihara Kawase for a very long time, and the gains that I would make in that game were tiny. Sometimes I would not seem like I was making any gains at all. I still haven't been able to beat it. And, you know, there's tricks that I can pull off a little bit better each time, but I still can't pull them off consistently. It's a lot of little tiny changes that I'm making as I progress towards completing Zenith, or completing Umihara Kawase, or becoming really good at my favorite games. All of these little changes that I'm making, I just have to kind of have faith that eventually they're going to add up to something real. And so that's why I picked the name Sprite Guard. And that's what the name Sprite Guard means to me. And so, I'm really glad that you can join me on this journey of discovery and of very, very slowly doing things to eventually create a little bit of change. So now what I think I'm going to do is go out here and see about looking at the radar and seeing if I can find any of these magazine pages. So they're very faint on the radar, but I can see them. I don't know if you can see them because YouTube compresses things so badly, but it looks like there's a few over near here somewhere. So I can see one approaching me, and as I zoom in, it looks like it might actually be up on this rail, which I would not be able to get. But it looks like there's some others. There's also a capsule up here. It looks like also probably up on the rail. But let's see if there's anything out here in the desert, because I remember there being some stuff out in the desert. And it looks like there is one over here somewhere. Let me just zoom in a bit more so that I have a better sense of where it is. And there it is. There's the Zine page. And if you want to look at those, I will link in the description to the video where he looks at all of them. That's Stacked Crooked, the person who put together some tutorials on where to find the trainers and Zine pages in this game. So let's zoom back out and see if I can find some other pages. It looks like there's one on the other side of this wall. So I'll have to find my way back over there. And then let's see if there's any more out in the desert on this side before I go back. Because I remember there being a few on this side of the wall, but I could be mistaken. And it is just so faint that it's very difficult to tell whether or not I'm actually seeing all of them. So let's see, this one is over this way. It looks like I may have actually gotten all of the ones that are on this side of the wall. So that's something that is good to confirm. I really thought there were more over here, though. So let's head back over to the other side, and I think probably the easiest way to do that is to get captured by the hawk again. So let's head out this way. And I would really like to hear your thoughts on the story and the reason why I picked this name, and if you think that you like the new name. I didn't realize until after I'd started uploading videos with this name that I was talking to my mother about this, about the channel, and she said, "Oh, like Right Guard?" And I was like, "Oh man, I wish I had thought of that, because I didn't want to have that association, but now I like the name enough that I'm willing to, look past that and, hope that it's not too strong of an association, because I like the name and I don't really like the association, but I think it's not that important in the scheme of things. So let's head back over this way, and I think there's some in sort of the area around those pillars down there that I'm looking at right now. So let's go back to the radar, and it looks like there's one over this way. So let's check it out. And it's going to be quite a ways away. So let's just take some time to head out across the dunes. There's sort of a tension in any game that has a really strong sense of scale between having that sense of scale, which can be really powerful and evoke strong emotions and just be cool. And it looks like the hawk is going to try and get me before I can get this page. I remember that there was a page that you had to be pretty quick about getting because the hawk would come and get you. So let's slow down and see if I can figure out where this thing is. There it is. Got it. Alright, so there we've got it. And now it looks like there's one over this way. Let's see where it is. And there's one secret in this game that is not a zine. So let's see if we can find that as well. Now it looks like there's one over this way somewhere. And I think there was one actually in among the structures over here. So that may be the one that we're going to now. Though I'm not sure. That might actually, looking at where that is on the radar, it might actually be inside of the city. So I'll just keep zooming in as we get closer to it. And it looks like there's a capsule over this way as well. So there it is. There's the zine page. So yeah, it was in among the structures here. And then it looks like there's a capsule off somewhere. Probably up higher, because I know that a lot of them are very high up in the air. And you actually need to get to the moon before you can get a lot of the capsules in this game. Now, there's some other missions that we can try to unlock. Let's see what they are. So we need to do the Dune Dash, the Mega Score, and the Speed Loop. The Speed Loop is actually something that I've done many times before in my other Zenith videos, so that should be something that we can pull off pretty quickly. And I've already shown how to do it in my speedrun video and in my Let's Play, so let's go over there. Let's set that as our current mission. Head up into the city, and then I will probably call it a day, because this episode is already getting pretty close to the length that I usually try to make these. So let's head up into the city, and I want to have quite a lot of speed as I go into the city, because I want to not mess around for too long with how fast I'm going. So let's use the speedrun strats that I've been developing over the course of these Let's Plays. Head up along this, and then hit this ramp, and gravity, and cling to the wall. I was actually watching someone play some of the tutorials of this, and I realized that the turning actually behaves slightly differently depending on whether you are... Excuse me. Let me pause here and think a little bit. So the turning actually works a little bit differently whether you're holding jump or not. So I lost a bit of speed there. I'm going to see if I can get back to where I lost it. It's, I think, going over this jump, so... that put me down to like 38 for some reason. And that put me down to 200. So I don't actually want to be... Well, maybe I do want to be up here because I know there's some stuff to get. And I could get that. But I think really what I want is to get up here. And I don't want to hit that rail, so I'll hit that. But that, I think, is too high up still. Because I want to hit this ramp here. And doing so... Oh, I don't want to lose any speed, though. And that's not enough speed to get into the speed ring just from here. So I need to take a little time to figure out what the best route is. Maybe what I want to do is get onto this bit here, go through here, and then, let's see, I actually want to take this jump here, but then instead of going into the tunnel there, I want to get onto this thing on the outside. And I need to, let's see, there we go. But that's going to, yeah, that's gonna knock me off, so I want to get up a bit. No, that's not taking me where I need to go, so... Let's see, can I get over there? No, not quite. Okay. So I need to kind of take some time and figure out how it is that I'm going to actually get up there. So, I know I'm going to need speed. I know that speed is the first thing I need. But then I need to figure out exactly where I want to hit the wall to go into that tunnel thing. So I think that the thing to do might actually be to head over this jump here. And then, let's see, that's not quite enough. There we go. I think that is actually exactly where I want to be. Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Not quite enough to get into the speed ring, though. So, let's try taking this thing. And this might actually take us a more easier to use, more direct route. So this will take us over to this ramp thing. Which will take us up here. And then to this ramp thing here. Which will launch us over here. And I lost too much speed. So I want to be a little more careful to not hit the brakes there. Because then we want to hit this platform here, and then onto this platform here, and then that should give us a good chance of landing on the speed ring. And I want to make sure I have plenty of speed, so I have to match X a bit to get my speed up. And I know that there's like an optimal rhythm that's not just as fast as you can, but I'm not sure what that optimal rhythm is. So I'm just going to tap it as well as I can, and then, let's see, is that enough to actually get onto it? It's not. So let's head down into this cave. Hey, grab a capsule that can let us level up our monster a bit. And now get up this. Did not quite cling on to that thing. So I need to, let's see, be a little more careful here. There we go. And that, let's see, is that enough to launch us straight up to grab on there? Yes, it is. Alright, so now we're heading into the speed ring. And then we just need to build up 2400 speed, and that will complete that mission. So now we are just going to have to wait a little while to get up to speed. And then, so first we're going to have to pass through this big hot box. That is something that I did not think about, is I actually need to get a little bit higher up on the wall so that I don't get knocked off when I go past the doorway. So now we're high enough up, we just need to build up some speed. 2400. And then I think we have to be going 2400 as we pass through the hot box, but I'm not certain. But at this point, it's just a matter of waiting. But once we have gotten up to this speed, we can actually grab some capsules that we wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. And that will take some judicious use of rewind and pause and careful jumping. So I'm going to wrap this episode up here. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any thoughts, I would love to hear about it in the comments. And if you enjoyed the episode, please do leave a like. I'm going to pick up right where I left off in the very next episode, so thank you very much for joining me, and have a great rest of your day.